Okay. Yesterday, I received the Blackview 9500 Pro. This is an unlocked world phone from Blackview. It's a Chinese company. This is the one that has the built-in ham radio frequencies. And since there is not much US-based info on this, and I am in the US, I figured I would share my thoughts after 24 hours of use with this thing. So, anywhere you see this, everybody talks about it being a large, heavy phone. And for an average person that's used to using like a Galaxy anything, this is a little bit bigger and a lot heftier. Now, in comparison though, this is the Blackview. This is my old Note 4 with a 10,000 milliamp battery pack on it. You can see it's pretty hefty too. And it is actually just a hair bigger than the Blackview. This was my favorite phone for a long time. Actually, I think out of all my Galaxies, it's still one of my favorites. I've had the 4, I've had the Note 5, I've had the 6, the 7. I'm recording this on the 8. And what I have noticed with Galaxy phones, probably more so than any other, it seems like toward their expected end of life, you're going to get 3 or 4 firmware updates in rapid succession. What I mean by that is you'll probably get all 3 or 4 of them within a 4 to 6 month period. Once you take those updates, I have noticed that on every phone I've had, my battery life dwindles down and my connectivity gets worse and worse. I'm not saying they're doing it intentionally, but it's awful funny that I've got a Note 4, Note 5, a Galaxy 6, 7, and 8, and they've all done it right around the 2-year mark. It just strikes me as odd. I saw this phone when it was on Indiegogo. I think Indiegogo. But I didn't jump in on it then. That form of funding, I've been burnt by it once or twice, so I normally don't go for that no more. I waited until it came out, hit the market. I've seen 2 US small reviews on this, and they were pretty good. So I thought, well, I'll give it a shot, and 24 hours later, I'm going to give you what I've noticed so far. All right, first off, I am on a cell carrier called Bluegrass Cellular. They are more or less a kindred to Verizon. Where I live, Verizon's not allowed to sell service, but they come down to this area, they use Bluegrass towers. When I go out of this area into any area with Verizon towers, I'm of course on Verizon towers. They share it that way. Now, I always had good luck with it, with my other phones on it, until they started doing what I mentioned before. And my S8 started doing it, and I do have a battery case on it. But it started getting to where when I went out of the local area into the Verizon area, my performance was hindered badly. Sometimes I just couldn't make calls. You know, it was spotty. The internet was spotty. So I thought, well, of course, I've had this phone exactly, the S8, exactly 2 years. So, hey, look, it's time for a new one. Look, the 10's out. After seeing the 2 US reviews on this phone, I decided to go ahead and get it. $457 compared to a $1,000 phone. And I took the SIM card out of my S8, put it in this phone, and it took off with no problems at all. The only issue, and I have this whenever I've ever tried to use an unlocked phone on even AT&T back in the day, my MMS multimedia messages would not come through because there's an APN configuration you have to do. Almost everybody can find APN configs online for every carrier. Once I went in and reconfigured the APN, I was able to receive the multimedia messages on this phone. I was able to send them, but I couldn't do it under the same APN for some reason. I need to go in and check both of them out and try to merge all the information into one. But after 24 hours, the only issue I have is I can't send an MMS message, I honestly don't care. I will fix it in the APN config file, but it's okay with me because I normally just text. I receive the media messages for work. I don't send them, and I can always Facebook and do it that way. It's no big deal. But anyway, moving on. I'll highlight the two things about the phone in 24 hours that are the only things I don't like. I'm sorry. 3 things. First off, the push-to-talk ham radio. I haven't found a way to disable it, and a lot of times when I go to turn the phone on, I accidentally hit the push-to-talk button there, and it automatically brings up the intercom software, which is the push-to-talk software on the phone. So I have to constantly shut that or close that out or put it to the background. If I can't find a way to disable it, I got several 3D printers. I'm going to print a piece to go right over top that button so I don't actually depress it, and that's fixed. The next issue is, of course, you have to configure the APN for the multimedia, at least on my network to Verizon. No biggie, it's doable. The third issue is the charger. Everybody in the US that I know or seen that got one, they get this plug. Now you know what this plug is. That's a overseas plug. It's a 220 plug. You have to get an adapter for it, or you're going to use a different USB plug. Now here's the kicker. 10,000 milliamp. Okay. It does IQ wireless charging, and it is USB-C. I set this on my 10-watt wireless charger last night when I went to bed. 6.5 hours later, when I got up, it had charged 25%. So, not great. I plugged it into my 10-watt USB-C charger, and it was creeping on the charge this afternoon. The reason for this is, on this charger, the specifications on it down here, if I can get it to without zooming, you will see output 5, 9, and 12 volt 2 amp. Okay, now I believe this thing outputs different voltages to this phone depending on the lowness of the battery. I cannot confirm that, but I believe that's what it's doing to get this battery charged because it's such a large battery. This is a 10,000 milliamp battery. I didn't have that problem with this, but the charging circuit in this case is probably built differently than the one in this one. So, if you order one of these, you're going to have a 220 adapter. I'm going to pick one up tomorrow. I forgot to get it while I was out today. Other than that, the MMS and the battery charging itself, the intercom, that's all I got negative about the whole phone. And that's really just, you're going to need a faster charger. It's personal preference on the intercom and the other. One guy actually bought the phone more for the intercom software with the ham radio frequencies. It does come with the antenna for it. They do give you this nice little wrench because, you know, to get to the SIM cards, you got to take them 2 screws and loosen them up and pop that out. It does come with a USB-C cable and a set of earbuds as well. You have a little book. It comes with a screen protector on it, and they actually give you a second screen protector that is down here in this. They are the flexible ones. When I ordered this from Amazon, I went ahead and got the hardened glass one for it. I figure, you know, I do use it for work, so better safe than sorry. And that's just the way I feel about it. So, yeah, I put a little marble thing on it. Um, Other than that, the phone is a True World phone. I ain't had any issues. One of the biggest things I have noticed about this, in the warehouse at the shop where everybody gets their equipment and stuff at work. When you get in the back of the warehouse, of course, it's a metal building, metal roof. No phone, no carrier anyone has gets any signal back there. Everybody's always connecting to the Wi-Fi in the building because of this. This phone, this morning, had 100% signal. I was able to use the internet. Everything on it worked just like it would if I was outside, where most people have to go to the dock or out front to use their phone. This worked with no problem. The issues I was having in the areas that my S8 started acting up in, this had no issues. And I know it's not just my S8, because I know 2 other people that travel the same areas have S8s, iPhones, and other phones with Bluegrass that have the same issue. This phone did not have those signal issues. I've heard several other people say that this picks up better than their other phones ever have, or anyone else's in the buildings they're working in. I'm going to say that's true because it does. And, I mean, all in all, if you've thought about buying this phone, I can't truly come up with a reason why you wouldn't. Okay? The only thing with this you might have a problem, and I haven't really tested it, if you're trying to use your data while you're on the phone, I don't think this supports that unless it's supported through your, like AT&T has a different band for that. But like Verizon uses a VoIP over IP, which is a setting on the phone. That setting is not in this phone. So that may not happen. You may, when you're on the phone, you may lose your data capabilities. But other than that, I can't come up with a real downside other than you're going to have to get a adapter for the charger. Now I have a 65 watt USB charger, USB-C charger that I'm going to get out and plug up to this and see if it makes a difference. I'm thinking it might. If that's the case, that'll be what I charge this with, because after 24 hours of use, it came with 97% battery. After 24, well, actually now, I'm going to say 24 plus 7, 31 hours. After 31 hours of use, I am at 39%. I stuck this on the charger probably about an hour ago. It was at 36%. If that gives you an idea. It went up 3% in an hour with a 2 amp 5 volt, which is 10 watts. So that would give you an idea how long it would take. But other than that, I mean, yes, it is a little big. I mean, I don't think it's excessively big. I like a big phone. It's got a little weight to it. Actually, my Note 4 with a 10,000 milliamp battery weighs more than this one did. So, if you've thought about it, I don't think you can go wrong. There should be no carrier in the U.S. this doesn't work with. So, I don't think you're going to have a problem there. You may have to go online to look up the APN config for the carrier on if you have a problem with the MMS messages. SMS, which is regular text messages, don't have any issue at all. And as you can see, there's the intercom software. I'm constantly having to slap it down and I'll just clear all. But every time you touch this button on the side, it'll want to load that intercom software. See, I'm not a fan of that, and I have found no way to turn that off. I mean, they do make a 9500 that doesn't have that feature. I don't think it's a True World phone though. This one was. That's why I bought it, because it had all the bands for all the carriers. For the APN, all you do is go to your settings. Okay, you go to your network. You go to your mobile network, and you go to access point names. And as you can see, I have Bluegrass, I have Verizon on there, and that Blue Dot Internet was another one I was making. So, and you can add them by pressing the plus button up here. So you can add in one and put your own settings in if you want to. I just click on that and it shows the settings, as you can see. So that's my 24-hour. Once I've used it a little more, I'll do something to give you some more info. But as I said, I can't come up with a real reason not to have this phone. I mean, I've used it 24 hours, and I thought I would be more, I don't know, on the bench about it, or on the, rail, whatever. Honestly, Android 8.1, 6 gigs of RAM, 128 megs of storage built in. You can also put a 128 meg SIM chip in the middle, and it does take 2 SIMs, so you can have 2 carriers on it. So, I mean, it's a nice robust package for a little less than half of what you pay for a flagship Samsung. Just something to think about, guys. Hope this helps you if you've been on the fence about this phone. Thank you. Bye.